sure everybody's okay. Make sure nobody's climbed up the crazy tree today thus far. Hope you are all doing well. Let me change up my settings of privacy. I'm not particularly expectant of a ton of people being here. All right. I'll just pick on my guitar for a couple minutes to see if anybody gathers at all. Hey Dora, how are you? Hope you're having a good day so far. Hey Carla. Hey Pat. We here. I'm so glad that it calms you. That's lovely. Calms me too. That's why I have multiple instruments sitting around all over my house. Watson! Hold on one second, sorry. Hey, garbage eater, come here. Now. Come here. Lay down right here. I'm just picking around. Just playing on the guitar. Just improvising. So yeah, I've had conversations with lots of people today, and everybody seems to be a little bit on edge, with reason. There's a lot at stake. You know, in times like this where really once you've done what you can do, this is really a time where we kind of have to allow ourselves to kind of be okay with things being out of our control. And that's not an easy task. And I'm not minimizing it, but rather in any given day, we have profound choice over how we react and present into the world, right? But beyond that, you have no choice over how someone receives. You have no choice over how they respond themselves. And so we have to really allow ourselves to be ever mindful of just what it is that we actually do have control over. And then we put our energy into that. Far too often we divide that energy that we have, and we focus way too much on what other people think. It's not that what other people think isn't important. It's just not everything. It's important for us to be aware of how are we received in the world, not so that we evaluate ourselves based on that. Hey, Watson, stay with me or lay down. Just lay down. You know, because every critique in and of itself, it doesn't mean that it's always true. But it's always important for us to listen just because you want to make sure you're not really at fault. You want to make sure that, you know, you haven't done something wrong. And this is where prayer really is a helpful activity in this, where we present and you ask yourself, well, God, how do you see me? And you have to discern the voices in that. You have to discern the disposition and feeling and separate what's your own personal guilt or our own woundedness. Often is what that is manifested as. It comes out as guilt. And to really realize that that's not a fruitful thing. And what God wants for us is to move away from that, to allow ourselves to have peace. This is why Christ presented himself. When you read John's gospel, what did he do? What was the first thing that he did? He presented himself to the apostles and he says, peace be with you. It's an intention to remind us that despite the fact that everything is crazy, despite the fact that everything is just fear-inspiring, do not be fearful. Peace be with you. And we look for that way to find that peace in ourselves. And sometimes that just means we have to breathe in the moment and realize, I'm okay right now. I'm good where I am. And then we thank God for the fact that we are safe and that we have this moment. And then we ask God for those graces that we need. And, maybe it's that I need that peace. And so you say, may I have that peace? And we receive it. And we allow ourselves to feel it. And as you're asking that question, you're mentally thinking that as well. And you have to do that. You have to be thinking of a peaceful place, that same feeling that you seek. And you know that you've been to those places. And maybe it's that moment that you feel right after you receive the Eucharist. That's that reception of God and that perfect peace that resides there. Maybe it's in a beautiful vista at the end of a hike, where you just have this vantage that you would never have had without that struggle. And in that moment, you see God. Perhaps it's in the thank you or the beauty of someone's words to you at some point. And you hear that love of God in that, and you say thank you. And these are all such a powerful time for us to take and be aware of and be mindful of what that peace feels like in those moments. And then from that, we allow ourselves and ask God rather to allow us to receive what that is that we need, that peace, that calm, that still. And we allow that to reside within ourselves. And then once we have fortified ourselves in that, then we go forth in an endeavor to bestow that peace upon other. And you want them to receive that peace. And that's why we say, peace be with you to each other. That's why even, throughout all most Middle Eastern countries where Arabic is spoken, As-salam, peace to you. And it's this being of peace that's desired. When we are people that seek to be bestowers of peace, when we seek to be the peacemakers in the world around us, we change a community and we make other people mindful of that great desire that God has for us to be a peace-loving, peace-bestowing people. And this is really the fundamental, obviously compelled by great love, but in that love, it presents itself as that peaceful calm. Oh, CJ, God already knows what's in your heart. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but it's important for us to know that God isn't waiting to hear our words. God is waiting for our heart to feel something. And then we must open our hearts in that knowing that God has received what it is that we're saying, and we have to open ourselves to receive that message. And that message might come through the wisdom of a friend. That message might come in the form of prayer and some beautiful revelation that comes from that. And it may be something that you see in the world and it transforms you. But we have to be open to God changing us, man. That's what it really comes down to. It's about allowing ourselves to hear God. Because God already knows what's in our hearts. what God's wanting us to do is to stop kind of focusing so much on what's not there and to really allow ourselves to attune to what is so that we can be a people of gratitude. That doesn't mean we don't fight for what is good, what is right, what is just. But we always have to stop and to reflect. Otherwise, we're just angry as we carry out the mission. We have to be bestowers of peace because there's that beautiful love when it presents itself. It's often received as that. We hope, right? And so, yeah, that's, to be peacemakers is what I really want us all to try to be and endeavor for today and always. Not to be so combative. Because then all we're doing is we're sparring. We're not seeking unity. You're just going into the ring. It's a great activity intellectually. That's apologetics in that form. It's healthy for you to exercise with yourself. But far too often we use it as Catholic talk points rather than something that we use to edify our own understanding of what the church teaches. And in doing that, it prepares this idea that my role is to beat you into submission of faith by way of intellect, rather than to guide someone by will by way of love. Grace builds on nature. It begins with love, and then we build upon that with learning how is that lived out in my own life, with my own situation, with my own limitations and my own gifts. How can I glorify God most? And so, but to always try to be the peacemaker in doing so, to be mending. For me personally, that was a hard lesson to learn. For those of you who know me well, that like I like to debate for sport. I will even adopt, just for the sake of argument, I enjoy arguing against what I believe just because arguing is fun. I don't know if that's part of my family of origin growing up in my house that we all learned to argue, but I like to argue. The thing is that arguments don't build up the kingdom. And I often think that it's more of that Roman military mindset rather than that triumphant love of Christ that when it presents itself in that way. And so let us be a people of peace. Let us seek to be a people of love. Let us be bestowers of both that peace and love in all things, so that we can bring about the kingdom here and now. And that's it. That's what I got. But yeah, may we be peacemakers. Watson agrees. All right, friends. Anybody else have anything they want to share? Anything that we want to talk about? Any thoughts, perspectives? I think it's like a 40-second delay, so I have no problem just kind of sitting here randomly rambling away, which I'm happy to do always. Yeah, and as I'm saying I'm happy to do it, I'm coming at a blank completely to what I should say. So, since no one is coming at me with any additional things, we will always pray for you, CJ. And I'm praying for all you guys. When you make an appearance in here, you end up being a person that I take to prayer in some way. I try to unify my heart with yours when you guys are here. That's why I always want you to say hello. So I can be mindful of what's going on in your lives and kind of check in, but also it helps me to know what it is that you guys are going through, and that guides the conversation. And so I love you all. I hope you guys have an awesome afternoon. I will be back in the morning. And there won't be a Thursday morning session this week. I have a meeting with all of the it's one of the boards that I sit on, and so I have a meeting for that and a call that's going to be long. So pray for all of us on that call, because I'm just going to be watching souls fly out of purgatory as each moment passes on that. And nope, I haven't, CJ. All right, friends, have a great afternoon. May we have peace within our hearts. May we be still and accept what we cannot control. But what we can control is to bring about the kingdom with our love. Be good to each other.